premise of Americanism and its democracy. The essence of such theories is this, that everyone can become what he wants to, within the limits of the technological means at his disposal. Equally, a person is not what he is from his true nature, and there is no real difference between people, only differences in qualifications. According to this theory, anyone can be anyone he wants to be if he knows how to train himself. This is obviously the case with the self-made man. In a society which has lost all sense of tradition, the notion of personal aggrandizement will extend into every aspect of human existence, reinforcing the egalitarian doctrine of pure democracy. If the basis of such ideas is accepted, then all natural diversity has to be abandoned. Each person can presume to possess the potential of everyone else, and the terms superior and inferior lose their meaning. Every notion of distance and respect loses meaning. All lifestyles are open to all. To all organic conceptions of life, Americans oppose a mechanistic conception. In a society which has started from scratch, everything has the characteristic of being fabricated. In American society, appearances are masks, not faces. At the same time, proponents of the American way of life are hostile to personality. The Americans' open-mindedness, which is sometimes cited in their favor, is the other side of their interior formlessness. The same goes for their individualism. Individualism and personality are not the same. The one belongs to the formless world of quantity, the other to the world of quality and hierarchy. The Americans are the living refutation of the Cartesian axiom, I think, therefore I am. Americans do not think, yet they are. The American mind, puerile and primitive, lacks characteristic form and is therefore open to every kind of standardization. In a superior civilization, as, for example, that of the Indo-Aryans, the being who is without a characteristic form or caste, in the original meaning of the word, not even that of servant or shudra, would emerge as a pariah. In this respect, America is a society of pariahs. There is a role for pariahs. It is to be subjected to beings whose form and internal laws are precisely defined. Instead, the modern pariahs seek to become dominant themselves and to exercise their dominion over all the world. There is a popular notion about the United States that it is a young nation with a great future before it. Apparent American defects are then described as the faults of youth or growing pains. It is not difficult to see that the myth of progress plays a large part in this judgment. According to the idea that everything new is good, America has a privileged role to play among civilized nations. In the First World War, the United States intervened in the role of the civilized world par excellence. The most evolved nation had not only a right but a duty to interfere in the destinies of other peoples. The structure of history is, however, cyclical, not evolutionary. It is far from being the case that the most recent civilizations are necessarily superior. They may be, in fact, senile and decadent. There is a necessary correspondence between the most advanced stages of a historical cycle and the most primitive. America is the final stage of modern Europe. Guénon called the United States the Far West, in the novel sense that the United States represents the reductio ad absurdum of the negative and the most senile aspects of Western civilization. What in Europe exist in diluted form are magnified and concentrated in the United States, whereby they are revealed as the symptoms of disintegration and cultural and human regression. The American mentality can only be interpreted as an example of regression, which shows itself in the mental atrophy towards all higher interests and incomprehension of higher sensibility. The American mind has limited horizons, one conscribed to everything which is immediate and simplistic, with the inevitable consequence that everything is made banal, basic and leveled down until it is deprived of all spiritual life. Life itself in American terms is entirely mechanistic. The sense of I in America belongs entirely to the physical level of existence. The typical American neither has spiritual dilemmas nor complications, he is a natural joiner and conformist. The primitive American mind can only superficially be compared to a young mind. The American mind is a feature of the regressive society to which I have already referred.
American morality.
The much vaunted sex appeal of American women is drawn from films, reviews and pin-ups, and is in large print fictitious. A recent medical survey in the United States showed that 75% of young American women are without strong sexual feeling, and instead of satisfying their libido they seek pleasure narcissistically in exhibitionism, vanity, and the cult of fitness and health in a sterile sense. American girls have no hang-ups about sex. They are easygoing for the man who sees the whole sexual process as something in isolation, thereby making it uninteresting and matter-of-fact, which, at such a level, it is meant to be. Thus, after she has been taken to the cinema or a dance, it is something like American good manners for the girl to let herself be kissed. This doesn't mean anything. American women are characteristically frigid and materialistic. The man who has his way with an American girl is under a material obligation to her. The woman has granted a material favor. In cases of divorce, American law overwhelmingly favors the woman. American women will divorce readily enough when they see a better bargain. It is frequently the case in America that a woman will be married to one man but already engaged to a future husband, the man she plans to marry after a profitable divorce.
Our American media.
Americanization in Europe is widespread and evident. In Italy it is a phenomenon which is rapidly developing in these post-war years and is considered by most people, if not enthusiastically, at least as something natural. Some time ago I wrote that of the two great dangers confronting Europe, Americanism and communism, the first is the more insidious. Communism cannot be a danger other than in the brutal and catastrophic form of a direct seizure of power by communists. On the other hand, Americanization gains ground by a process of gradual infiltration, affecting modifications of mentalities and customs which seem inoffensive in themselves but which end in a fundamental perversion and degradation against which it is impossible to fight other than within oneself. It is precisely with respect to such internal opposition that most Italians seem weak. Forgetting their own cultural inheritance, they readily turn to the United States as something akin to the parent guide of the world. Whoever wants to be modern has to measure himself according to the American standard. It is pitiable to witness a European country so debase itself. Veneration for America has nothing to do with a cultured interest in the way other people live. On the contrary, servility towards the United States leads one to think that there is no other way of life worth considering on the same level as the American one. Our radio service is Americanized. Without any criterion of superior and inferior, it just follows the fashionable themes of the moment and markets what is considered acceptable, that is, to the most Americanized section of the public, which is to say the most degenerate. The rest of us are dragged along in its wake. Even the style of presentation on radio has become Americanized.
Who, after listening to an American radio program, can suppress a shudder when he considers that the only way of escaping communism is by becoming Americanized?
Those are not the words of an outsider but of an American sociologist, James Burnham, professor at the University of Princeton. Such a judgment from an American should make Italian radio programmers blush for shame. The consequence of the do-your-own-thing democracy is the intoxication of the greater part of the population which is not capable of discriminating for itself, which, when not guided by a power and an ideal, all too easily loses sense of its own identity.